What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Quickstart webinar. Hope everyone's having an amazing week. This Quickstart webinar is brought to you by the Private Money Club. We are all about private money lending and borrowing and meeting lenders and meeting borrowers. And on this call, we just stay sharp. So every single week, we practice elevator pitches. We talk private money lending, whatever we got going on. We share it, weekly updates, things like this. I got my friend Jose Harkin is in the house. What's up, Jose? Good to see you on here. Jose is also part of the Private Money Club team. So many of you on the call know Jose and have met Jose in person or over the phone, and he's like the co-pilot. So there'll be times on this call where I might say, "Hey, we need some help. Can you put in the link to this website? Can you put in the link to this resource or to take this class?" And Jose is there to help you guys with as he knows how. All right, cool. What's going on? Hey, Patrick, good to see you. Hello from East Texas. What's up, Ron? Yeah, so Jose puts the link in here, and it's you'll see the one that ends with the Blueprint 1. So, you see the link, it ends in Blueprint 1. And if you have any questions at all, you'd like to schedule some time with someone one-on-one, like Jose or one of the PMC team members, that's the link that you click to schedule a call to talk about just taking advantage of everything that the Private Money Club has to offer. So, man, have you guys checked out the new platform yet? It's really cool. It's really cool. I just saw an email today where you can now add reviews to your borrowers and to your lenders, which is kind of awesome. So that's a new feature. It looks super clean and really well put together. I'll admit I haven't dove in as much as I would like to. I'm hoping to do that over the holidays here when we have a little bit more free time. So get your profiles up, get your PMC profiles shining, standing out, take the classes, get your badges, and all this stuff matters. I had a friendly reminder this week of why I love working with private money lenders. Let me know if this has happened to you. Has anyone, because we have a property that we're refinancing, we funded it with a private money lender for the fix and flip, and it's now we're refinancing the property with long-term debt, but we're still using an investment type of lender, right? Which they might even call themselves private lenders, but it's a company, right? It's not a person. It's an investment company that funds rental property deals. Well, the moment that you have your credit pulled, has this ever happened to you where you just get 100 phone calls a day from mortgage brokers wanting your business? Has anybody I know you guys have experienced this, I'm sure of it. Oh my goodness, what a reminder for why I love using private money lenders, because you own a business, you operate a business, you got people that are calling you with contractors, and you might not have them stored in your phone, and I have to answer every single one of these calls with these mortgage brokers because I don't know if it's a contractor, a client, I don't know if it's an appraiser, and oh man, Jose, I think we should do another webinar if you guys would be into this, where it's just me being mad at people that are spamming me for business. I think that it could be some good entertainment there, Jose. I don't know what you think about that, but man, the systems that they have to be able to call you, and it is impressive. I would agree. But all right, cool. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Quickstart webinar brought to you by PMC. Hey, every single time that we do this webinar every single Thursday at 1 p.m. We're all about practicing. We're all about getting better as borrowers and lenders and networking. Hey, feel free to network in the chat. I think the people that get the most out of this time here that we do this webinar are the ones that are active in the chat. I think it's cool being familiar with people's names, right? I think it's cool where seeing you guys. Maybe I haven't met you in person yet, but it's so nice saying, "Oh yeah, for sure. Al, what's up, man?" And just all the regulars, right? So feel free to network in the chat. I'm big on disclaimers. If you are just tuning in, this is your first time on the webinar, I always talk about how hard this is. I always talk about as much as I can, the risks that are involved. Keep in mind, I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in it. I truly believe that private money lending is a great way for a real estate investor to get all the funds that they need to buy real estate without having to go the traditional route. And I truly believe that when done right, private money lending isn't, where else can a person make a double-digit rate of return and have that have their funds secured by real estate that's worth much more. So I truly believe in this, but there is a lot to it. There is a lot to it. When I was asked to teach this webinar every single week, I asked Stephen Nagy of the Private Money Club. I said, what are your goals with this? What do you want me to do? And he said, no, all I want you to do is educate. Just let people know. Let them know how to, let them know some best practices. Let them know the fundamentals, right? And that's what we work on here every single week. Is this risky? Absolutely. You guys, I have friends that have lost money, private money lending, but when they were lending, they only had a promissory note. They didn't have a mortgage. They didn't know what questions to ask. They didn't know how to analyze a deal and what to look for. They just got caught up in that shiny interest rate, and we're like, wow, that looks, this person's on Facebook and they seem to know what they're doing, right? But if you're not in real estate, if you're not, hip with the mothership, you might not really know like what questions to ask and all this stuff. So that's why we do this, right? Is this risky? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. But is it a beautiful thing for people who understand what to do and how to do it correct? 100%. 100% it can be, right? So we always talk about that. Let's move on. Here we go. Now, listen, what do you think of when you hear the term private money lender? And I've shown this slide a couple times now, but I think this is great practice. I also think this is great practice. So type it in the chat. Type it in the chat box here, because we do have some new folks here. Hey, if you're new, type it in the chat. Say, I'm brand new, Noah, brand new. Let us know. And everyone that's been on this call before will give you a huge welcome, right? Is anyone brand new? La. Okay, cool. Love it. Kelly, welcome, Kelly. Hey, Reed, what's up? Love it. Katie, second call. Welcome back. All right. Kelly P, I love it. All right. So, and if you've been on the call before, just say hi, say welcome, make everyone feel good, right? Hey, Nelson, what's going on? Manish. Okay, so when you think of, let's talk about this, because there are going to be times when you are, let's just put our borrower hat on, pretend we're a borrower for a minute. And if you're looking, looking for private money to fund your deals, a lot of it has to do with educating other people on what private money lending is and how private money lending works, right? So let me ask you a question. What do you think of when you hear the term private money lender? What do you think of? What do you think of? What do you think other people are thinking of? What could it be? What could it be? What do you think of? An individual or a small LLC? Unicorns? Yeah, unicorns. Albert says, I think of Bigfoot. It's so funny how people have this like misconception of like private money lenders. Like I talk to a lot of my friends and fellow real estate investors. Maybe they don't use private money lending. And when I say that I fund deals with private money lenders, they look at me like I'm an alien, like I've seen a UFO or something, right? Like, who are these people? Like, where do you find them? Where do you meet them? And it's like they all come out on the third Thursday of the month with the full moon and present all of their money to the deal. No, that's not how this works, right? It's like I see what you're saying here in the chat box. Everyone's like, hey, it's a person, right? It's a person, someone with deep pockets. Nelson says, maybe. A lot of people that I've helped, Nelson, actually, I wouldn't consider them to have super deep pockets. I think that's a big myth buster that we can bust there. Like a person doesn't necessarily have to be a millionaire to be a private money lender for us. Right now I have a deal that's pretty on the higher end of the market where I live here in Columbia, South Carolina. It's 800 and some thousand. But at the same token, there's lots of deals where I've started out private money lenders lending at like 20, 30, or 40,000, right? So don't necessarily have to be uber wealthy or anything like that to do this. Just if you can have the mindset of I'm here to help common everyday people that just want to make great rates of return on their money, you're gonna see private money lenders potentially everywhere you look. It's kind of like a gift and a curse. When my wife and I go to a networking event, we go to a party, we go to, Thanksgiving dinner's coming up. You go to the grocery store. Everywhere we look is like that person could be a private money lender. Like, what type of money problems are they having right now? Do they not know what to do with their money? Is the money on the sidelines? Is it in the savings? Is it in a holding pattern? Are they not making double digits? I can help them. That's the mindset that we have, right? I love Charles. Charles says a shark, like a loan shark, or yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Mafia. William says, all right, cool. I like it. So you guys watching The Penguin on HBO? Anybody watching that show, The Penguin on HBO? Is the Penguin gonna be making your loans? I don't think so. I don't think so. Right? But what's but what's funny is that's a lot of the mindset. So as you start having conversations with people, it's important to let them know, hey, anyone can be a private money lender, right? It's just about putting money to work and having it secured the right way with real estate, which is awesome, right? This is a good question. Mostly attending this, lenders or investors? That's a great question. We're actually going to ask that right now. What a great segue. What a great segue. So put it in the chat box. We always like to do a little roll call here. We got 135 people on the call. Where are these mysterious people? Where are this mysterious? No one, yeah, no one should be able to hear you, Rhonda. It's all tech. Type it in the tech. I'm the only one that can talk on this one, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I wish we could get everybody on here. If you are a lender, type it in the chat box. Let's see where we're at. If you are a borrower, type it in the chat box. Let's see. It'd be cool to go back and count, Jose, and get like the exact percentage of lenders to borrowers. I feel like we're getting more and more borrowers on the calls here, which is awesome to see because I know that there's a lot of lenders in Private Money Club that are looking for good deals, right, Jose? Yeah, for sure. Lender, borrower. All right, how many of you are both? Anybody doing both? Ooh, right on cue. And right on cue. I love it. Tina says both too. Yeah, what's cool is a lot of people do both. So a lot of my real estate investor friends that had previous careers, right? They worked for corporate America, they had a 401k, they rolled that over into a self-directed account, and now they lend from their retirement accounts that they accumulated with their corporate jobs and their past careers or current careers, and then they do real estate in addition too. So, but instead of using the retirement to fund their own flips, which is a little bit more difficult than people actually think it is to do, they borrow the money. They borrow the money from private lenders, which is awesome to see. So, how many of you are brand new? Like you're like teed up, you're ready to go, but you just haven't done it yet. Like let's say lenders, like maybe you're a lender and for whatever reason you just haven't made a move yet. Maybe you're part of like the PMC sphere of influence, like with the BYOB. You've got your own banking system, and you're ready to put stuff to work, and you just haven't done it yet. You just want to make sure you don't screw it up. Is there anybody in that boat? Right? Charles says new lender. Yeah, someone says that's me. Yes. Okay. Cool. Well, you guys are in the absolute right place at the right time. And one thing I tell people all the time is we never want to become motivated lenders, right? So just because you're queued up, just because you know that the opportunities are out there, we don't want to rush this, right? What I would be rushing to do is to educate myself first, right? So now that you're set up, that's awesome. Hop on these webinars, get on these webinars every single week, stay dialed into the Private Money Club and everything that they have to offer to make sure that you're educated before you just jump in and start doing things, right? And I would also say that with the borrowers, right? We want to make sure that one of the very first things that I teach, and I teach a class called the Accelerator course with Private Money Club, and one of the very first things that we teach in that Accelerator course and really stress is to build your team. So if you're a brand new real estate investor, a brand new borrower to private money, here's I'll give you some insight. Here's what I'm teaching a lot of my students on the very first questions that I want them asking you if they're thinking about lending is, what's your team look like? Tell me about your contractors. Tell me about your real estate agents. Tell me about the real estate attorney and the title company that's handling and conducting your closings. Like, I want to make sure that you got your team in place too. So there's definitely some groundwork with building a team, getting the education and things like this before you start asking for funds, right? And putting your deals out there. All right. Yeah. And Jose said, hey, if you got any questions, hit us up. Use the link right here. All right. Or you can call or text him. He's available to you guys as well. Premier member. So how many of you are in the club? I know we have a lot of new people on this webinar here. How many of you are brand new to Private Money Club? And you're like, wow, this sounds awesome. Like, what's this like? Type brand new in the chat box here, right? So I'm a big believer that every single person on this call should be a member of Private Money Club when this call is over. Okay, so at a minimum, so there's two different options here. Number one, Premier member. If you're a Premier member, like let people know. You can say I'm a new Premier member, like Julie just did. Say I'm a Premier member, right? Let us know where you're at, and that kind of gives us an idea of like, oh, okay, next level, like super ready to go, you know. And then the free members, everyone should have at least a free membership. So a free membership, I would recommend to someone that's like, hey, I haven't joined Premier yet, but I want to check it out. I want to poke my head around. I want to, start to network and meet other people. Private Money Club offers free memberships, and I would go and I would create a profile like right now. So Jose can put up the link for you guys. If you're someone here, someone just texted Christy, said, hey, I'm looking for $40,000 in the club. I'm telling you right now, there's so many people in I get to know people in Private Money Club a little bit more intimate because I teach a class with them. So like the students, the DNA of those courses, there's always people, Christy, that are looking 50,000 or less, easy breezy, because a lot of people have the insurance policies that are set up and they want to start being their own banker, right? So it's exciting stuff. All right. So what's the difference between free and premier? That's a great question, Tina. A lot of it, and maybe Jose, maybe you can help us out. Jose, I could bring you on if you wanted to, or you could just type it in the chat box. Let me know either way. A lot of it has to do with the messaging capabilities, being able to post deals, message people directly, and things like this. The Premier memberships also have some additional courses that they can take, like a certification lender, certification borrower course. There's also a new course that was just released, fundamentals, I think it's called a contract law, something along those lines. So we have lots of different resources for folks here that could be really, really good, right? All right, so go ahead and click the link, schedule some time with Jose. Everyone on this call, all 143 people, should have a free profile at a minimum. And if you're a Premier member, well, then you already know. By the way, Premier members tonight, I'll do another reminder, but Premier members tonight is the third Thursday of the month. So at Private Money Club, we do a 2-hour mastermind with Chris Naugle and Stephen Nagy. So make sure that if you are a Premier member that you are on that Zoom call. That's because that's part of being a part of the Private Money Club, which is awesome. So, all right, cool. Brand new. I love it. Thank you for this opportunity. All right, cool. Thanks for the introduction, Diane. I love it. I love it. Lots of times when I talk to people and they haven't used private money lending yet, it usually comes down to these four things here. Even lenders. I know there's a lot of people on here that are looking to lend. They haven't done it yet. They love the idea of making double-digit rate of return, having it secured by real estate. But lots of times when I talk to people, even experienced investors, I'm like, hey, why don't you use private? Well, why are you paying all these crazy fees for the hard money lending and paying all these points and all the these doc fees and all this stuff? It's like you pay $1,500 just for them to push print and print the paperwork. It's like, why are you paying all of this stuff? And lots of times it's easy for people to work with hard money lenders or to work with a mortgage brokers because they've done it before, right? It's something that they're taught to do. They can, and lots of times the banks, there's brick and mortar, so you can, where you have a checking account, there's someone there that does the mortgages. So it's easy for people to do these types of things. And hard money lenders are actively looking. They have money to deploy. So it's pretty simple to get the ball rolling with hard money lending. And lots of times, because people haven't used a person, lots of people have asked institutions for funds, but not a lot of people have ever asked a person for $500,000. For $200,000, for $1 million, for $100,000, for $50,000, for $40,000, right? Not a lot of people have asked a person. So in their mind, they're like, man, I just feel like, who's going to take me seriously? Like, I don't feel as though I'm credible enough. And so one of the things that we work on this call every single week, and one of the things we really dive into in the Accelerator course, is the credibility. Like, how do you establish credibility as a borrower if you're brand new? How do you establish credibility as a borrower even if you've done 100 deals? You still have to establish credibility with the person you're talking to, because that person doesn't know you if they've never met you before, right? How do you do that? What's your process for that? And same thing for lenders. In Private Money Club, if I posted a deal right now on Private Money Club and I said, here's the deal, I'd probably get 4 or 5 people right away that would be interested in learning about that deal. But now I got to choose who I'm going to work with. And as a borrower, I got to figure out, okay, who's going to be able to follow through? Like, who's taking this seriously? Like, whose profile is done right? Right? And who, I don't want to work with this one. This person messaged me, but they don't even have a picture on their profile. Like, that looks like that looks like a scam. Like, what's going on here, right? This person messaged me, but their profile's like 3 sentences, and like in my mind, I start looking at, okay, who's credible from a lender standpoint. So it's both ends, right? Both sides of the coin need to work on this. And clarity is a big one too. Like, a confused mind says no. So if we don't fully understand things, lots of times we're gonna stay in our lane, right, and not try out something new. And I believe if you have the first two, the confidence comes, and then the community, right? So I got the hat, I got the shirt. You guys see I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. The community is I'm so jealous of everyone on this call, because if you're looking for private funding, like, lots of times, when I first got started investing in real estate, I had to go out to real estate investor association meetings. I had to talk to friends and family and coworkers, and do my elevator pitch and be like, hey, have you ever thought about making a double-digit rate of return, having it secured by real estate? And I had to get really good at that. But what's cool about when you have a good community, like the one that's in the chat box here, like the Private Money Club, right? The premier members, you guys know, it's like everyone understands what it is. So you don't have to go up this, like, elevator hill of trying to explain, trying to educate quite as much, right? It's more about presenting the deals. Next week I think I might get Andrew Jose on here to just actually give a tour inside the Private Money Club, since he's the one that developed it. Who better to give him a tour, right? I think that would be pretty good. What do you think? Right? But the community is awesome, you guys, and you're all a big part of that. Those of you who are on the call right now, we got 146 people on the call right now, Jose. That's pretty cool, and you guys are what makes this community great. Third Thursday Mastermind is today. It's tonight, right? 6 o'clock Eastern Time. So remember, 6 to 8. If you are a Premier member, if you're like, hey, I don't know how to get a hold of, I don't know how to get the link to that Zoom. Like, you should be receiving these Zoom links automatically. If you're not, just shoot Jose an email or a text, and he can get you set up with the link. But it is tonight, third Thursday, Mastermind, Private Money Club. Let's go. I am opening enrollment to a new accelerator course that we're going to be doing at the start of the year. I know this class here says November 4th. This is for the current group of students that we're teaching. But if you're someone that's like, hey, I love this information, I would like to collapse the time frame on my learning curve and learn as quick as I can, as much as I can, then accelerator coaching is something that you might want to take a look into. Jose, yeah, you can join via the PMC site. Okay, cool. So if you want to hop on the call, you can join right in the Private Money Club website. It's on the right-hand side probably, right, Jose? Right, just click the link and you can register there. And if anyone's interested in getting help with the accelerator coaching, Jose, put the link in there and they can schedule a call to enroll in that with you. All right. Do you do JVs together? I don't do a lot of JVs. I don't do a lot of JVs. I don't like partnerships, Mark. I just don't. I just never really felt the need for one. I don't know. Lots of times people will. I don't know. People partner for different reasons. Sometimes, usually, like, one person has the money, the other person has, like, the crew. And I feel like if you're good at, just get good at both. I don't know. It's I don't do a lot of JVs. There might be a lot of people on here that do, right? All right, Julie, welcome to the fam. All right, Julie's enrolled for January. I love to see it. Can't wait to work with you. This is a slide from last week. I didn't mean to pop this up, but since it's here, let's talk about it. Last week we talked. Let's just do a little review. Last week we talked about presenting deals and doing things the right way. And if you're going to post a deal on Private Money Club, people ask, hey, no, when you post a deal, you get lots of people looking at it. I haven't had the same success. Like, what's going on? Like, well, you got to put together a package that really explains and shows that you have the ability to get the job done. You've done your due diligence. You've done your research. You got your ducks in a row. All your boxes are checked, and you're ready to rock and roll, right? So one of the things that I talk about quite frequently in accelerator class, and we talked a little bit about this last week, is presenting deals where it's hard for someone to say no. Like, you have all of the data, you have all of the numbers right in front of someone, right? So we talked about having a perfect loan proposal, which is part of Private Money Club, one of the tools and resources that the members have access to. We talked about the importance of having an executive summary that outlines the deal, the who, what, when, where, why, how, the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats of the deal, what could go wrong. Let's talk about that too. Comparable sales, repair estimates, scopes of work, photos of the property. We talked about the importance of having a property tax card or a link to the county tax website for the property. We talked about putting in your packages a purchase and sales agreement, which is really important, an exit strategy letter. So I like to talk up front and verify and show, hey, this is our exit strategy. It's a fix and flip. This is our exit strategy. We're going to buy it, rent it out, refinance it, signing off on that, acknowledging that it's going to be a commercial only, investment purposes only type of property. This isn't going to be a primary residence, things like that. I like to share who my title company is and who's the real estate attorney that's going to be involved. And most importantly, I think this is a huge one, the experience spreadsheet. So if you're talking to someone and they say, hey, you got to, hey, tell me a little bit about your experience. And they say, oh, well, I've got 4 projects going on right now. I've got 10 rental properties and I've done 20 deals total or whatever, right? Okay, great. Then I would send them an experience spreadsheet. That's a spreadsheet that says, hey, address, date that you purchased, how much you bought it for, what was the rehab, so on and so forth. All the details about the project. Now, this should only take a borrower, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to fill out. Like, they should have this information readily available, like in some sort of spreadsheet that they already have and to keep track of their deals. And then have them type this up and send it back to you. And then as a lender, what you can do is you can go in and verify, right? You can go in and verify. I know people right now, and these people aren't in Private Money Club, but they're like big time Facebook people. They teach new construction and they're out in North Carolina and they're like, we're the best, we're the greatest, and we've got this many deals, we've done this many deals, blah, 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 blah. And I have people emailing me, they're like, hey, this person hasn't paid me in 2 years. What should I do? Right? So, look, you never know what the difference between what you see on Facebook and what the real life situation is, right? So it's really important that you trust yet verify the information. And one of the ways lenders, listen up, if you're brand new, one of the biggest ways that I see people get screwed is they just take people's word for their experience, right? So you got to go and ask for an experience spreadsheet. When you're presenting deals, if you're the borrower, have it filled out, have it ready. Like, that's a huge credibility piece. And then lenders, when you receive the information, you go in and you look. What I see people doing, a lot of people are robbing Peter to pay Paul. They didn't finish a deal. They started construction. They didn't finish. They got to borrow money from someone else to pay this person off. We don't want to get stuck in those types of situations, right? So again, I like to talk about the risk. I really, really do, because I love you guys. I want everybody to win. I don't want you to lose. Private money lending is a great vehicle, great way to make money with your money. But my goodness, if you screw up, lots of headaches, right? So we want to stay safe. Take the classes. Educate yourself. Take the classes. It doesn't take a lot. If you can interview someone for 30 minutes and you know what questions to ask, or you can work with a team that does this for a living, underwriting and things, can underwrite your deals for you. There's plenty of resources in Private Money Club and people in Private Money Club that can help you make good decisions, right, Jose? So next class is coming up. We limit the class size to right around, like 20 people, right around 20 people. These are some of the resources in the accelerator program that we provide. And again, we had a family emergency right before. I know you guys saw this slide last week. We had a family emergency. My little boy, we had to take him down to the burn center in Atlanta, or in Augusta, Georgia. Today, my wife did for an accident that happened last night. So not a lot of sleep happening here. This was a slide from last week, but I'm going to share it again because we do have a lot of new people on the call, and I think there's some value in here, right? So class replays, underwriting resources, payoff letter templates, repair estimate templates, elevator pitch outlines. All of these things are things that I believe people should have in their borrowing and lending business. And I say business because I think people should treat it like a business, right? And so if you are like, man, I don't have these things, like this, some of these items you'll find in Private Money Club as a premier member, or tools that you can use, and other things are resources that some of our accelerator students now have access to. These are things that I use. Right? So there's nothing really super fancy about them. It's not some fancy software, but these are things that I use every single day in my business to borrow private money lending. And I've been borrowing private money lending for a really long time. Right? Most of our deals, over 90% of our deals are funded using people. not institutions. All right, so let's get into the elevator pitch.
You ever feel like you don't have control of your real estate business or your money? That's right. The big banks and the institutions, they're in control, right? I know you've felt that before. Private Money Club puts you back in the driver's seat. As members often tell us, it's a total game changer. Join the community of like-minded lenders and borrowers by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up.
Let's get into it. I had a really good slide in here, Jose. And guys, I'm gonna say it's at the end as well. So if you're watching, you're like, I'm not sure what I should be working on. I'm not sure what I should do. I've got a slide at the end I'll share with you. I call it my make a move slide. And if you haven't done anything on that list, then I'm encouraging you to go take action on what you haven't done yet. I'll share that here in a minute. Every single week, we practice the elevator pitch. Every single week, we practice the elevator pitch. And I have a couple of people asking questions, messaging me directly. If you have any questions about private money or deals or anything like this, you can ask them in the chat. I might not see them though. Okay, if you post the questions in the Q&A section on the Zoom call here, I will answer them at 1:50. We'll stop about 10 minutes early, answer questions, right? If your question is something that I think the whole group could benefit from, then I'll definitely answer it. If it's a question that might be like more specific to like your situation, then I'll probably answer it last and have you stay on the line and everybody else can log off type of thing. All right. Private money loan. Here it is. It's a loan secured by real estate, just like a bank. Just like a bank. So earlier, one of the first slides I shared with you, what do you think of when you hear private lending? Well, industry-wise, private lending just, it's not a traditional bank, right? Like take Wells Fargo out of the picture, right? But if you Google private money loan, there's going to be all types of funds and people and brokers and they call themselves private lenders because they aren't in that traditional box, right? When we talk about private money, what we're referring to is a person. I'm talking about Deb. I'm talking about Denise. I'm talking about Eric. I'm talking about Francisco. I'm talking about Joe. I'm talking about Jose. I'm talking about Lala. What a cool name, Lala. I love it. We're talking about Nelson, right? We're talking about people. Okay, so that's the big difference here. Private money lending, we're talking about working with a person. And one of the best ways, I like to look at the elevator pitch like a real elevator. So I have a couple different ways to do this. When I'm trying to explain to someone or get someone excited about wanting to learn more about becoming a lender and working with us, I have like my 30-second elevator, and I also have my however long it takes elevator. And I'll be honest with you, I really like taking the however long it takes elevator. Yeah, I'm gonna share with you 4 slides, and I look at each of these slides as talking points, and I look at them as floors in the building, floors in the elevator. The elevator takes you to those different floors. And when we talk about the elevator pitch, it's really important that we have this mindset and we approach it where the person pushing the button, let me ask you a question. This will be a pop quiz for those of you that have heard me say this a million times. For those of you pushing the button, who should be pushing the button to go up to the next floor in our elevator pitch? Who pushes the button? Is it the borrower or the lender? Let's pretend I'm a borrower and I'm talking to Lala and I'm like, hey Lala, da 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 da, right? And Lala's my potential lender. Who's pushing the button to go up to the next floor? What do you think? The lender. The lender. So if I'm the borrower, I want the lender to be the one that's curious about learning more. I'm not gonna move on to the next floor. Like at no point in time, if I'm ever like talking about private money lending and I'm doing my elevator pitch, do people feel like I'm giving them an elevator pitch? All right, I want to make that very clear. This is not pushy. It's not, I don't know, it's not salesy. It's not, it's smooth, right? Because we truly believe that we're helping people, and we get people asking questions about us, and then we tell them what we do. And if we truly believe that what we do is helping people, they're going to want to learn more. They're going to want to keep pushing the button to learn more, right? And one of the best ways that I've found to help people who are new to private money lending, maybe they've never heard about this before, right? Like, let me ask you a question. How many of you know someone right now that would make a great private money lender, but they don't know it yet? All right. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee while I see how many people are on the call. How many of you know someone that would make a great private money lender, but they don't know it yet? Okay, cool. I like it. Terry said I do, right? And if you want if you send a message and you want everyone to see it, select everyone on that little blue box. If you just want me to see it, then just say host and panelists. All right. How many of you? Okay, cool. So lots of people. All right. So I'm gonna use Kelly as an example. Right. Kelly said everyone. I do. I do. And that's my mom's name, Kelly. All right. So Kelly? Are you brand new to real estate? Do you have experience? What does this look like? Let's just do a little context here. Add a little context. Kelly, are you new to real estate? Experienced? Let's go. Yeah, Kelly Beck. Kelly Beck. Kelly Beck. 2 years experience. All right, I love it. I love it. So this is you're in like my favorite part of the business, right? You got some experience. You got the ball rolling. You got some connections. You made some money. You survived a couple losses, maybe, or some close calls, right? Market's tightening up a little bit. It's a little different than it was 2 years ago. So you got to make sure you're being super cautious and making smart decisions. And you're probably like, hey, if you're doing fix and flips, you're like, you know what? I'm tired of paying 14, 15%, 3 points and all this stuff to hard money lenders. I got to get in the private money boat. I got to get in the private money canoe, right? So you start thinking to yourself, okay, who do I know with some money parked on the sidelines? Who do I know with money in savings, just sold a house, retired from their corporate job, right? Things like this, right? The conversation that you got to have, Kelly, with them is before we can talk to a person about private money lending, we have to give them the self concept and the self belief that they can be a private money lender. There's no use in talking about private money lending with someone if that person doesn't believe that they have the ability to do this. And lots of people's, their financial advisors aren't telling them about this. There's no sign in the bank that says lend your money to Noah or anything like this, right? So you have to educate people, if that makes sense, right? So here's one of the best ways to help people realize that anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. Don't have to have deep pockets, right? So I ask folks, I say, hey, look, do you own the home that you live in? And if they may or may not, but lots of times they do, right? Maybe if they do or not. Hey, you own the home you live in. Let me ask you a question. When you bought the house that you live in, did you get a mortgage? And I'll probably say yes, right? And then when you went to the mortgage, when you went to the title company or to the attorney's office and did your closing, did you sign a big stack of papers? You're going to say absolutely, right? So you agreed to pay the loan, you agreed to the interest rate, you signed the mortgage. Let me ask you a question. You probably got insurance on the property because that was something that the bank wanted, right? And they're going to say, yep, yep, yep. You got mortgage, you got promissory note, got the insurance set up, right? Everything that you did to buy the home that you live in, our private money lenders, we provide those same items to them. So just like you signed these documents for your bank, we sign these documents for you. And you can start to see the light bulbs going off because now they've kind of already done it in a sense, right? They've just been on the other side. They've been on the borrower side. So if we can show people, hey, look, there's nothing different, right? We have promissory notes drafted by attorneys. We have mortgages drafted by attorneys. We use title companies, real estate attorneys to do our closings, make sure everything's in line. Everything gets recorded in the county. Insurance is set up. We do title insurance. We have a lender's and title insurance policy. Everything that people do every single day to buy the homes that they live in, we provide those same items to our lenders. And what's cool is you dumb it down for them, right? And you make it conversational. And we can even back it up a little bit. What's cool is like if people know that you're in real estate now and this is what you do, like maybe it's not your full-time thing, maybe it's a part-time thing, maybe it is full-time, right? What's pretty cool is you can just I like to break it down by bringing up what you do for a living, right? I know this isn't on the slide, but let's back up. It's Thanksgiving. You're going to run to a bunch of people you haven't seen in a long time. Let's just do this, okay? So what's cool is you can get caught up and you can say, hey, look, what do you do? Let me ask you a question. What do you do for a living? Hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. What do you do for a living? Hey, how's work, right? Even if you said family, you see family members and cousins and uncles. Hey, how's everything going with your job? How's everything going with your company, whatever, right? And you let them talk. You let them talk. over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? And you ask them questions. Like if you're genuinely fascinated by what other people do for a living, you can be fantastic at this, right? I am. I love knowing what someone had to go to school for, how long they had to go. I love the career path that they chose, why they did what they did. I love figuring out how long a person's been at their job, how long they have left, what they like, what they don't like, what's retirement look like? Will they ever retire? How many years until they retire? If they retire, are they going to also do something else? I like asking all the questions. And what's cool is it's common courtesy, it's human nature, if especially if there's plenty of time for that person to turn around and ask you, Kelly, what do you do for a living? How's your job going? How's your career? Well, the job's great, but I'm also doing real estate for the past 2 years. I've been doing this. I've been flipping houses and buying rental properties. Whoa! Now here's what's cool, right? When you say what you're doing now in your real estate investing business, right? Maybe you say something like, "Oh, you ever seen the house flipping shows? I do that." Like if and watch people, watch their eyes get big, watch them smile, watch their heads tilt, look for the cues, watch for the light bulbs going off in their head. 9 times out of 10, they're interested, right? They've always wanted to do it. They've known someone that's done it. Their neighbor has done it. Someone across the street flipped a house and made a boatload of money, and they saw the opportunity that they missed out on. They had a family, their grandparents used to own rental property. They like real estate, and they know that there's money to be made in real estate. And when that person lights up, when their eyes get big, when they start to smile, when you can see they're genuinely curious and intrigued, you can call them out on it. Hey, I saw your eyes get big there. I saw the smile. I saw the smile, right? Oh, I like this. I'll hit that. I saw the smile. Like, what was that about? I'm curious. What you think about that? And they'll probably say one of these things like, I've always wanted to do real estate. Real estate's this. Oh, I know there's money to be made, but gosh, it seems so risky, right? That's what so you said. A lot of people say when you say it to them. At that point in time, you say, hey, look, whatever their excuse is, right? So Kelly, right now, that person says risk is their excuse. Wow, that's so risky. That's so risky. Here's what you can say. Hey, look, it doesn't matter. It's the same excuses every single time why other people aren't doing real estate. It's the time. They don't have the time. They don't have the knowledge. Maybe they feel like they have to be a contractor. They have to be the one doing the work, right? Gosh, what else is there? Time, contractor. They got their current career. They really feel like they can't focus. Maybe they feel like they have to be a millionaire or have deep pockets to be in real estate, right? Oh, that's not for me. That's for someone else type of mindset or attitude. Whatever their excuse is. And when we say risky, it could be a combination of those, right, Kelly? So it could be a combination. So I would say, oh, what's crazy? I would agree with you for people who don't have the experience, don't have the knowledge, don't have the contractors, don't have the right team, and don't really know what they're doing, it can absolutely be risky. But thankfully, we have all of those things. And what's really cool is for people who like real estate and get excited about real estate, but maybe they don't want to take on that risk themselves because they don't have those things, we actually provide opportunities for them to participate in our deals. And they're going to be like, whoa, what do you mean? Participate? I don't have to take on the risk of knowing the contractors and do all this. What do you mean? Tell me about that. Well, we use private individuals, just like Jose Harkin, and everyday people who want to make better rates of return on their money. Some people will use their retirement accounts. Some people just use the cash they have in hand. And instead of going to a bank, we go to people. We use people. And we pay them. This is the key because you got to get them wanting to push the button, okay? We pay them a great rate of return on their money. People love it. Okay? That you gotta say that. You gotta say that. Just like we pay them a great rate of return, people love it. And then you just zip it, Kelly. You don't say nothing, right? You don't say anything at all, and they're gonna start to think about it. And what's cool is they might want to know right then and there. If you don't have time to continue that conversation, the next time you see that person, they are gonna want to bring it back up because you just ruined that person's life. Because for the rest of the time, until they find out how much interest you pay your lenders, they are going to be thinking about it. You are going to ruin someone's car ride home if they don't have time to push the button and find out, right? Because they're going to be genuinely curious about it, right? And so this is when next floor, Okay, we just got through the first floor. Next floor, well, how much do you pay? They're pushing the button, right? And this is when, Kelly, you got to figure out what you're going to be paying, right? So you got to know your business model, you got to know your niche, you got to know what makes sense to you, right? So this is what I say, right? So this isn't anybody else but me, right? Maybe this is you, I don't know, but this is what I say. I say we pay anywhere from 8 to 12% annualized interest. Each loan opportunity is unique, right? We pay anywhere from 8 to 12% annualized interest. Each loan opportunity is unique. And there is this thing called optimism bias where immediately a person's mind's going to think about the 12% and not the 8%. So the whole car ride home, they're going to be thinking 12%, holy cow, 12%, holy cow, 12%, right? If obviously you got to figure out how much you're going to be making. Kelly says, awesome, for people who always wanted to invest in real estate, but they don't have XYZ, we give them an opportunity. Bingo. Bingo. You can, yeah. And here's what's cool. Hey, you don't have to pick up a hammer, right? I got the crews that do that. I don't pick up the hammer. So I look like someone that swings the hammer? No. You kind of laugh about it, right? No, we have a team that does that, right? I don't have the time. Well, you don't have the time. That's no big deal. We have lots of people that they're not, the time isn't important. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I got 50 million things running through my head for you. But the time is the easiest because that's the biggest problem. When someone says I don't have the time, that's their problem. And lots of lenders are busy people. They have careers, right? They don't have time to go out and fix a moldy cat pee smelling house, right? Leave that to us. We got you, right? You don't have to have the time, but if you have the desire to make a great rate of return on your money, then maybe it's worth us having a conversation, okay? Each loan opportunity is unique. Now, here's where a lot of people miss the boat, okay? Because this is what's happening is once you talk about 12%, 13%, 14%, whatever you want to pay your people, that's up to you. But whatever you want to pay your lenders, they're going to be thinking, okay, is this too good to be true? Because on the news it says 7% mortgage rates are like really high. You know, I got my home loans 3.5%. You're going to pay 12%, like. So you have to kind of be ready for like the general public who doesn't live in our like investing world. They're not going to understand why we pay 10, 12% annualized interest for real estate, right? So they might be a little bit skeptical. Maybe we can talk about that in our meeting. So and by the way, if someone asks a question, you have two choices. You can answer it or you can set up a meeting. I would much rather set up the meeting. So the whole goal of this elevator pitch is no one's going to get out their checkbook at the Thanksgiving Day table and be like, oh, do I make the check out to you? Like, that's not how any of this is ever going to work. How it will work is if you have a good elevator pitch and you're creating intrigue, go into these conversations with the intent of setting up a call next week. Go grabbing a cup of coffee next week when the Cowboys aren't losing on the TV, okay? And everyone, all the Cowboys fans in your family are sad. Right? Hey, you know what? This doesn't look like a good time. Cowboys are getting destroyed 49-7. Let's set up a time next week when everyone's like a little bit more chipper, where it's just you and me, right? I'm just kidding there. Sorry, Cowboy fans. Had to do it. All right. So remember, everyone's a little skeptical. Okay. So this is what legitimizes the deal. Like, this is no handshake deal. This isn't a verbal deal or anything like that. Like, we do this just like a bank. So just like a bank would want, we provide all of our lenders with a promissory note. We provide them with a mortgage or deed of trust. We provide them with a personal guarantee because hopefully, Kelly, you got some sort of business set up, right? LLC or something like that. And as the owner of the LLC, the manager of the LLC, you're going to be personally guaranteeing the loan, right? And we get insurance. So we get insurance just like a bank would want. Now, these are what I call the core four. In the accelerator class, we go much deeper into the different things that a person should be asking for when underwriting a deal and looking and making sure this is something that they want to fund. Okay, but for conversation purposes, these are the things that we're going to bring up and that we're going to mention. Okay, and so now that the person can relate, oh yeah, you just talked about this. Like, when I bought my house, I got these things, and then you provide this. Okay, like. This seems like a how have I never heard of this before, right? And then we cap it off with, real casual. All the documents are prepared and recorded by a licensed professional. So it's not us, it's not me doing it. And I get people all the time that message me and email me. They say, hey, Noah, can you send me a template of a mortgage? And I think that is a horrible idea. Can you send me a template of a promissory note? I think that is a horrible idea. What I tell those folks is, hey, you need to go find a real estate attorney that can do this for you to make sure that it's done the right way. Why would you want to put all that stress on yourself of making sure you're filling out this paperwork? Let the professionals handle it, right? So if I'm a lender, I want to make sure that there's a professional handling it. I don't want the borrower to be like, here's one I printed from offline, and it's like LegalZoom or whatever, right? Like, no, we want to have the right professional in the area that we're doing the business draft these documents, right? So that kind of seals it. So and then at any given point, if they're like, you know what, I want to learn a little bit more, that's when you set up the meeting. Okay, so if you can get good at these four core, right? Teaching people about what a private money loan is, making sure that you have it figured out what you pay your lenders, right? Don't be wishy-washy. Like, this is the range. I like to give a range because it allows for some wiggle room. It allows for negotiations and things like this. But I'm also very cognizant of who I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to a family member or a friend or associate that is like, hey, no, I have money in savings. I don't know what to do with it. Can you help me? All right, great. They're definitely going to fall in that 8 to 12 frame. If I'm talking to someone that's like super savvy, like Chris Naugle, then I know I got to go a little bit higher. I might say, hey, we pay anywhere from 10 to 15% just to keep their interest, right? So if they're a bit more financial savvy, I might change my spread a little bit, right? You seal it with the core four, the documents here, and then we tighten it up and let them know, hey, everything's done by a professional. We don't do this stuff. We let the attorneys handle it. Right, Jose has a link right there. It is 1:51, so I'm gonna answer some questions. But guys, if you have any questions, if you want more of this, click the link, schedule some time. If you're thinking to yourself, I need a free membership, I need to upgrade my free membership to a premier membership, I need to enroll in the class, I need to take some action, click the link right there below. Education is the key to all this, man. And if anything, hop on the call every single week so you can stay plugged in and keep the momentum going. But at some point in time, let's hop into class. Let's get some extra coaching. Let's get some extra handholding and some help, right, Jose? So where else can a real estate investor borrow all the money that they need to fund a real estate deal without having to go to a bank? And where else can a person put money to work at an interest rate, at a great interest rate, and have their money secured by real estate that's worth much more? All right. So I'm going to encourage you to make a move. All right. If you haven't done any of these, do them. All right, number one, if you're brand new to the Quickstart webinar, if you're brand new, create a PMC profile, schedule a blueprint call with Jose. That's the link right there, right? Kelly says, this has been helpful. I've been to quite a few PML calls. The conversation starter you've provided has been by far the best. Oh, that's great feedback. Thanks, Kelly. If you're a premier member, Kelly, you can leave a review. You can leave a review on the website of the class. That'd be fun. If you are a premier member, go take the certification courses. There's a borrower one and a lender one. If you haven't taken my accelerator class with PMC, go ahead and do so. Sign up, enroll. Click the link that Jose just posted there, or give him a call. Say, I want to take Noah's accelerator class. If you're weird like me and my wife, and you like mobile and manufactured homes, I guess you could put Warren Buffett into that category too. Is there anyone in here that likes the idea? How many of you have always thought, hey, you know what? I think there's money to be made in mobile homes. Has anybody thought that? Has anybody thought that, mobile manufactured homes? We flipped 3 mobile manufactured homes this year. They sold faster than all of our houses, and we made over $150,000 total on those 3 flips. They sold faster, they rehabbed faster, we didn't need permits, and there's no reason not to, right? It's a huge moneymaker. And if you're thinking, man, I got a small amount in my policy, I'm trying to figure out how to put this money to work. Noah, some of these larger deals, how am I ever going to get in on the action? You need smaller price points. And mobile and manufactured homes could be some of those smaller price points for my lenders that are on this call. My wife teaches a class. It's called the Mobile Home Take Action Challenge. Her name's Christy Duckett. You can look it up. Jose can probably put the link in there for you if you want to learn about the Mobile Home Take Action Challenge. If you want to learn about what investing in mobile and manufactured homes with Christy Duckett looks like, you can click on the link. We also have a bus tour available. And you're like, no, what's a bus tour? Well, so we hop on. It's not like a Greyhound or anything like that. It's smaller, but we all get in an automobile together, and we have two of our investor friends down in Atlanta, Georgia, and Macon, Georgia. Mike and Mike, both named Mike, and they walk you through their business. They help you walk through properties, learn how to estimate repairs, and actually get some boots on the ground training. We call it the Bus Tour Intensive with Mike and Mike. And if you have any questions about that, you'd like to take advantage of an experience like that, they're great guys. You're not going to meet nicer people. Mike and Mike will take great care of you. But this is what we got going on. Any questions about anything, just hit up Jose, and I'm sure he'd be glad to help. I got a few questions in the chat box here, and we got 5 minutes to answer them. Let me see. I'll pull them up. Oh, cool. Paul says, we represent a tiny home manufacturer. We can do thousands of them per month. Tracks are great, too. Yeah, that's cool. Probably where I'll start after I get my policy started, John. Yeah, take a look, man. Take a look. Connect. There's a few nuances, right, that are a little bit different with manufactured homes and mobile homes than like the single family stuff that you got to know. I was actually at the DMV today. We bought a piece of land that had a trailer on it, and we got the trailer for nothing. We bought it for $18,000. It was land and a mobile home, 1993 mobile home, I think, if I recall. And we bought it for 18, and we're selling it for 25, right? 25 grand. Not going to be able to retire. Can't retire, right? But gosh, $7,000 is going to go towards a hospital, an emergency room hospital bill, for sure, for sure. All right, cool. Let me answer the questions here, and then we'll in order to answer the questions, I got to stop my share. So let me pull them up here. All right. How do you have your business entity set up? LLC or S corp? That's a great question. For me personally, Jacob, we have LLCs, right? And I do. And I'm not an attorney, so I can't say, hey, you should do this or whatever. That's what I do, of course. But what I will tell you from experience, speaking from a real estate investor's perspective, if a person does not have some sort of entity set up, you are going to have a very hard time borrowing money. I'm just speaking from experience. If you go to any hard money lending website, if you look at their frequently asked questions, you'll see right there that they do not lend to people. Everyone I've seen wants to lend to an entity, and there's lending laws are the reasons for that, right? So if you're a borrower on this call, you're a real estate investor, and you want to use private money lending, hard money lending, you gotta have some sort of entity set up. And I'm just speaking from experience. That's not legal advice or anything like that. I'm just saying, I don't know anyone that's going to give you money, right? And lenders, you should only be lending to entities, because unless there's just a whole lot more paperwork and laws if you're lending to people, because those people could be claiming those properties as primary residences and things like this, and then there's extra forms and all this stuff you got to fill out, right? My mortgage brokers know more about that than I do. I'm sure you guys can speak on that, right? But we want to be lending to LLCs to help keep us safe. I'm being told that by many that they don't fund less than 75K or 100K, but I'm looking. Oh yeah, dude, Ron, you need private money. You need a person, Ron. Ron says, I'm being told by many they don't fund less than 75K or 100K, but I am looking for 35,000. I'm paying 12%, a 5-year return or better interest rate. What is my best starting point for finding PMLs who will lend this type of money? Ron, I would say join Private Money Club. One of my accelerator students from a few classes ago just did a deal very similar to that. She funded a house lower. There was a low price point. I can't remember exactly what it was. And the investor was keeping it as a rental. And I believe it was 10 or 12. I think it was 12%, just like the one you're posting and sharing here. And it also was a 5-year balloon. And it was done with private money. There's lots of people in Private Money Club. I can't say, hey, it's going to work out perfect for you, right? I don't know. I have no idea about your deal or whatever. But there's lots of people in Private Money Club with smaller amounts. And I know sometimes it's tough when you're working with the hard money lenders, because they have a basement, right? They have a floor of what they're willing to lend, right? So get in the club, man. Click that link Jose just shared, okay? On manufactured mobile homes, how do you deal with monthly fees for the lot? That's a great question too, Ron. Lots of times, so what's cool about manufactured homes and mobile homes, there's going to be different opportunities. Like lots of like my wife and I are interested in mobile homes in other people's mobile home parks. Christy has owned mobile home parks before herself, but we also like mobile homes that are on land. And if when done correctly and detitled and retrofitted, manufactured home, detitled, retrofitted, then it becomes real property. So it becomes part of the land. So it's no longer considered personal property like a car or whatever, right? So there's a ton of different ways to do with it. to deal with it. If you're working with a mobile home in someone else's park, then you just take into consideration what those lot fees are. So my wife and her partner Erica, they have lots of properties, lots of experience owning and managing in other people's parks, and so they just got to take that into consideration. So they know if, here in South Carolina and some of the parks that we operate in, there, the lot rent might be $400, $500, and so they just take that into consideration. So the rent might be 750 or 800 or whatever, and then the lot rent's 500. You just subtract it, right? It's just taken into running your numbers as part of your costs. But big thing though you got to learn is how to ask the park, hey, do you allow rentals, right? Do you allow investors to come in and buy properties, because they may or may not, right? So you got to ask those questions before you make those buying decisions, all right? Which is good. All right, cool. Terry says we buy lots to put them on. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah, William Nadal does 40K deals all the time. Yeah, I mean, I can think Jose is mentioning someone in the Private Money Club that does deals just like that all the time, which is cool. Modular homes, which are equivalent. Yep, yep, yep. I like it. I like it. How about lending in Mexico? Not for me. Maybe somebody on here. Not for me. All right, cool. Hey, I hope this was a great class. It's 201 Quick Start webinar. We do this every single Thursday at 1 o'clock, so set your calendars. If you haven't taken action and enrolled in a class, hopped on Private Money Club, talked to my man Jose before, now's the time. What are you waiting for? I believe next Thursday is Thanksgiving, right? So no call next week. All right, which is the only other time we've skipped a week, it was the 4th of July. Other than that, we're on like clockwork, right? Every single Thursday at 1 o'clock. So not next week due to Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving and happy investing. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next call, everybody. All right? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you guys are awesome. All right, take care, everybody.